they're debatable. The order is what it is. After that, for me, I wouldn't have Drew Brees. And again, I know it's not left to right.
Oh, we're going to go left to right.
I see it left to right. And so when I see Kurt Warner in front of Drew Brees, I have a hard time with that one.
Wow.
But I'm just going to get right to it. And you're right. This is not Allen's Alpines. And so there's an exercise that we've all done it when we were kids and possibly as adults, where you get this little worksheet or you're playing a game and you look at it and it's like, which one doesn't belong? And it's Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Wow. Like you're
just being very.
This is not his mountain. He's not on this mountain.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I agree.
Like he is not on this mountain. You cannot be on a mountain with every guy. Can we go to something that you put up? You put this up just yesterday.
Oh, trophies?
Career trophies. You can't be on that mountain with all those accolades. Guys who've won MVPs, multiple MVPs, Super Bowls, at least Super Bowl appearances.
You got to throw Flacco on there.
And you have nothing.
So you don't just want him dropped down, you want him off?
What's he got? What's the argument?
He can't be on here right now.
So Donovan McNabb is taking his spot?
So all I'm saying,
Jalen Hurts?
He can't be on this mountain.
Okay, so here's
Put Joe Burrow on there.
Well, that's the interesting thing. You picked Allen over Burrow.
He can't be on this
Allen
mountain
without
with
Burrow.
none of these
surprised
accolades
Burrow
that
wouldn't
all these other guys.
Well, I thought that might come up. I didn't think it'd come up from you, the guy who owns, chalet on Allen's Alpine.
Exactly.
You're underwater in that one, buddy. Brew, this is where I think I'll get your support. Show the mountain again if we could. I apologize. The guys on Allen's row and above, those 10 guys, to me, are blink test Hall of Famers. I understand Josh Allen's, the cement is not dry. He has to accomplish more. But everyone on his row and above him, to me, those are the I really don't need to argue about it Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
So Stafford?
To me, yes. I feel
because I know after the Super Bowl win, you didn't have him in there.
I didn't have him in there yet, but it was to me very clear he was en route, and I think he has helped his case since then. Everyone on the row beneath is either a no or a very hard debate. Again, Josh is tough because I get if he retired today, he's obviously not a Hall of Famer.
Right.
I understand that piece of it, but I don't think he's going to all of a sudden disintegrate as a player over the next 5 years. And even if they never make a Super Bowl, if he continues this level of production for another half decade, he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And he also, the other thing is this, the trophies thing is assuming he doesn't win MVP this year. And I know he's not the Vegas favorite, but he was, 2 weeks ago, and he could get it. And so that's the argument there. It's not that I'm trying to be nice. It's that I think Josh Allen's better than all the 5 guys beneath him.
Yeah. So that's what I also want to talk about. That's what I want to emphasize here. Listen, some of these trophies that they're talking about, again, it's either voted on by random people in the media and whatnot, which again is just meaningless to me. I mean, Broussard has a vote in the NBA, or at least he used to, or whatever, and it's just like it's meaningless. As well as Super Bowl appearances and stuff like that. That's a team accolade. Nick Foles has a Super Bowl win and a Super Bowl appearance, obviously, and a Super Bowl MVP. I mean, you're picking Nick Foles over Josh Allen. You're just not going to do it. It just does not make sense. Same thing with even like an Eli Manning, who obviously has 2 Super Bowl wins. But the best example of that is honestly Nick Foles. That's why you can't just say like, oh, well, he doesn't have any of those accolades. Okay, but Nick Foles does. And so you're going to pick Nick Foles over him? Like you're just not. You're just not going to do it. And then of course we all know the Dan Marino and stuff like that. You're going to pick Eli Manning or Matt Ryan or Russell Wilson over Dan Marino. You're not going to do it. And obviously this is just the 21st century. That's why those other quarterbacks aren't there. This is just from 2000 onward. But so when they talk about these very specific trophies like MVPs and stuff like that, And they're like, oh, he doesn't have the accolades. And it's like, okay, but he does have the accolades. He's top in every single playoff category. He's number 1 in total yards per game in the playoffs. Total yards per game. He's number 1 of all time. He has the highest touchdown to interception ratio of all time in the playoffs. And then any of the other ones like completion percentage. He's all time in most total rushing yards for a quarterback of all time. But again, like any of the other categories that we can break down, he's like top 5, top 6, whatever it is. He's consistently top. You know, passer rating, completion percentage, etc., etc. So, you know, he averages the exact same amount of touchdowns per game, total touchdowns per game, than Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. But actually technically has less turnovers. So, you know, those things matter. Those things matter. And again, if you want to say situationally and all that, I've already unpacked that a million times. I'm not going to do that. But when we talk about like other accolades, like, and stuff like that, like, okay, we're going to say that these aren't accolades. Most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback, first 50 starts, 28. Most games with 2 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown, 25. Most games with at least 2 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns. Most games with 3 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdowns shared with Tom Brady and Drew Brees. Most games in the NFL with 3 or more passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns. Most games in the NFL history with at least 300 yards passing and 50 yards rushing. The highest passer rating in a single season. Most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in a single season. First player to record 40 or more total touchdowns in 4 and 5 straight seasons. First quarterback to have a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, and a receiving touchdown in a single game. First player since the AFL and NFL merger, so essentially since the beginning of time, to have 3 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns in a single game. Fastest to 250 total touchdowns, 107 games, shared with none other than Patrick Mahomes. And first player in NFL history with 35 or more passing and rushing touchdowns in 5 straight seasons. Those are accolades. Those are special. And then again, if you just look at all the Bills stuff here, you know, most rushing yards by a quarterback in a single game, longest touchdown pass. I mean, I'm not going to read all these, but you can see it just goes on and on and on and on and on. So he's obviously elite. He's obviously special. So to take away, you know, because he doesn't have like an MVP trophy or 2, it's like, well, that's just random people voting, man. I don't care about that. It's random media people who don't even watch all the games. Why should it matter what those people think if they don't even watch all the games? They're random people. They're biased. Most of them have never even played sports. Like not even football, which I'm always a fan to say, like, you don't have to be this special elite athlete to have an opinion. But like most of these guys never even played a sport. Like they don't even know what it's like to be on a team. And now they're the ones that choose who's the most valuable player for said team when they've never even played a team sport. Like, huh? Like, I have difficulty accepting that, honestly. I've never been part of true corporate culture. Very loosely, very little, very limited experience. I have an idea, you know, I have a loose idea, but if there were awards, who's the best CFO and best CEO, I would have no idea because I was never really part of that community, thankfully. So, you know, these people picking who's the best MVP or this, that, it means nothing to me. And again, I've been banging this drum for every player, for every team, for every coach, whatever it may be, that going to the Super Bowls, winning Super Bowls, are team achievements. Team achievements. They just are. They just are. For Tom Brady, they are. For Patrick Mahomes, they are. Tom Brady, to win his 7th Super Bowl, he needed Gronk on that team. He needed AB on that team. Needed it. Needed it. Needed it. Matthew Stafford to win that Super Bowl, he needed OBJ on that team. He needed Sean McVay as his head coach. He needed it. Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl, which Nick Wright said himself when he was trying to pull down Jalen Hurts, when Jalen Hurts fumbled the ball and they lost. Okay, so then therefore Patrick Mahomes needed Jalen Hurts to fumble that ball. Like, that's the really funny thing, because actually a lot of Mahomes fans will kind of come at me in those moments when we're debating Jalen Hurts or whatever. Oh, he fumbled in the Super Bowl. And it's like, well, I guess you're lucky then that happened. Because if he didn't, you're saying that that's why they lost. Well, then if that's why they lost, then that's why Patrick Mahomes won. And so again, we can do that all day with all of these accolades, these achievements. So, yeah. I think it's more helpful to just really use the eye test more than anything. Who you think is fundamentally a great and special quarterback. And if you want to just use accolades, like that's why they said, what, you're going to put Donovan McNabb up there, or Jalen Hurts, or, you know, again, technically then Nick Foles, because if you're going by Greg's rules, then Nick Foles should be there. No one's picking Nick Foles over Josh Allen. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's picking Joe Flacco over Josh Allen. Joe Flacco has a Super Bowl over, you know, so okay, replace Joe Flacco with Cam Newton. You're not going to do it. And again, you know, Greg here, I know he's talking and all that, which is great. There's no chance that if Greg got to choose, who do you want to be your quarterback? You're starting your career, you're a rookie, you're getting drafted. Who do you want to go to? A team that's quarterbacked by Josh Allen or a team that's quarterbacked by Eli Manning? There's no chance, none, that Greg Jennings is picking Eli Manning over Josh Allen. So that's why you have to look beyond just these accomplishments, these you know, Super Bowl wins, MVPs, whatever it may be. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Josh Allen not being on this list? Nick obviously having him on it, but Greg saying that he shouldn't, and Wild saying that he shouldn't, etc., etc. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.